today with Frances Carter, and she's our Canine MSTR instructor based in the south west of England. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Frances, if you would.
Hi, Alistair. I'm Frances. I've owned Newfoundlands now for just over 30 years, constantly in the water, both with the dogs. I also show them, and I've just got a 12-week-old puppy. So life at the moment is very hectic.
Indeed. Well, besides, being a human practitioner, you're a canine practitioner. But what was it about scar tissue particularly that caught your interest? Why did you want to learn about that?
Well, one of my Newfoundlands had major abdominal surgery about 7 years ago, and I trained as what's called an operation department assistant, which means I work in surgery. So I've seen scars being created from surgical procedures, and I tried everything I could to loosen the scar, because I noticed that my dog, when he was moving, he wasn't rolling properly. There was as if there was some attachment in his abdominal area. So over the years, I'd obviously massaged it, and I'd done other therapies on it that I'd learned, and I never ever felt that I'd actually got to the nitty gritty of it. So I went off and did the training, and I did it via video, which worked amazingly well for me, and absolutely loved it. And I've treated my animal and lots of other animals, and it's made a huge difference, even though it's 7 years post-surgery. He's actually now got that full roll, so that attachment underneath his abdominal area has freed up considerably, but it has made significant change in his movement.
Excellent, excellent. Any other examples of, your canine patients that you worked on? Anything that comes to mind? Any nice stories there that you can relate to?
Other successful stories? Oh, it's countless. The majority of the time, especially when I did my case studies, because we've been going through obviously lockdown and everything, I've worked a lot on my friends' animals, and it's seeing the way that they seem to just appear, and also the owners have said as if they've had a huge weight lifted off them. They don't feel so restricted in their movement anymore. Some animals will start to nibble as well at different areas if they're in pain, and by doing scars that have not necessarily been created by surgery, but from not self-harming animals, but they tend to nibble at areas. So sometimes I've worked on these sorts of areas and they've stopped doing it, and the granular tissue has gone back to as it should have been pre-licking. So that's a huge success story for me, for animals.
And of course, just like with people, animals also, they stumble, they fall, they sprain joints and things like this. And wherever there's tissue damage, you're going to have that repair process, which means scar tissue can get into joints and those areas. So it doesn't have to be a surgical procedure necessarily. It just could be an injured area where there is no visible scarring. But you've got to feel that out, haven't you, Frances?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the agility animals I work with, they've had restrictions, and it doesn't matter what treatment I've given them, and it never seemed to actually hold. They go and do their agility event the next week, and it would be back to square one. So I was constantly doing it. So in those instances where I have found, like you say, an area that is scar tissue, and I've actually done the MSTR on that has held. It's non-invasive, and it adds an extra tool. So when you actually try to do something, you're not getting that pinpoint result just by applying these so simple moves that an animal is not going to be offended by. They don't find it invasive in any form or threatening. It can be an amazing tool that can just get that quick instant release that the animal then realizes that this is not harmful in any shape, and it accepts it. They seem to accept it really well. To fellow practitioners, I feel it's absolutely invaluable.
Fantastic, excellent. Well, just like with humans, animals also benefit from this work as well in very profound ways sometimes. Frances Carter is our canine instructor, and we'll be putting details of how to contact Frances and to read more about Frances's work on our website at the end of this video. So thanks again for your time, Frances. Really lovely to speak to you. You take care now. Thank you.
Thank you.